All right, so good morning. This is my second attempt at this video. I actually have totally recorded this already, and I'm doing it again because I messed up. Happens a lot. So if you've ever had that in school and you mess up on an assignment, you have to redo it again. Us teachers, we know what that's like too. Anyway, excuse me. I am going to start our lesson on trash today and sustainability. So let's review real quickly what we learned about yesterday. All right. So when we're talking about sustainability, what does that word mean? It's so weird. I just did this. Sustainability means that we're going to try and put back at least as many resources into the environment as we took out. So if we're going to cut down some trees to make some pencils or toilet paper, because Lord knows we need some toilet paper, we're going to allow that forest to have enough time to grow those trees back before we start taking more out. That's sustainability. Sustainability means that, hey, if we're going to take oil out of the ground, well, we can't take very much out because it's going to take millions of years for more oil to form, so we can't be using stuff like that. Again, like I said, in America, we are not being very sustainable. We are super unsustainable. If everyone in the world lived like us and had as many products as we do, as many TVs, as many, cars, whatever, the whole world would be a desert. We would just not have any resources left. So be thankful you live in America because we're super wasteful and we get to be it because we're rich. That being said, there were 3 parts to sustainability I wanted you to know. The society pillar. The society pillar, that means are we as a society, are we as a group of people willing to try something new? Environmental means that to be sustainable, it also has to help the environment. And 3, it needs to be economically viable. It needs to be possible. We need to be able to afford it. I mean, it would be more sustainable for us if everyone had electric cars, right? Then we wouldn't be taking any oil out of the ground. But to be honest, not everyone can afford to drive a Tesla right now. So even though that would be good for the environment, it just isn't economically viable. So it's not really sustainable yet. So these things can change. Maybe we'll get more rich in the future or Teslas will become cheaper. We can all have electric cars. The other thing I talked about, I think, was metal straws yesterday. Today, we're just too cool to have metal straws. We don't want to be having a fanny pack where the metal straws lugging around. So socially, metal straws aren't going to work out. So that's why we're not being sustainable on that. So again, those are the 3 pillars of sustainability. Hopefully you remember that. Hopefully we'll learn something valuable. All right. So since we're not being sustainable, what ends up happening is we produce a lot of resources, a lot of stuff that we don't need. Waste. There we go. We're putting way too much waste back in the earth, and we're not putting enough resources back. So we call that waste trash. And that's kind of what I'm going to be talking about today is trash. So you're going to be taking some notes. Get out a Google Doc. Hopefully you already did it. Blank Google Doc. And you're going to be taking a couple notes, not a whole lot. As you know, we haven't been doing a ton of work on trash. So let's get some facts about trash going on. Here we go. All right, the first fact about trash I want to talk about is the fact that the average American throws away more than 7 pounds of garbage every day. That is 102 tons of garbage in your lifetime. Now, to be 100% fair, I've done other research on this, and I've seen some estimates that say that maybe we actually only throw out about 4 pounds of trash every day, which is a lot less. But still, 4 pounds of trash a day is a lot. Where is that all coming from? How are we possibly throwing away 4 pounds of trash? If you think about it, you probably don't think you throw away 4 pounds of trash. Let's go through it. Let's find out how that happens. All right, here's one. In the U.S., Americans toss 60 million water bottles daily, which is nearly 700 per minute. And that's going to kind of add up as far as the amount of trash that you're throwing out every day. Excuse me. So like I'm saying, people throw away 700 water bottles every minute just in America. And plastic does not degrade very quickly. It takes years and years and years for plastic to degrade. And so we throw it out, and that's part of the 7 pounds, between 4 and 7 pounds of trash we throw out every day. Here's another one. Americans throw out about 28 billion pounds of food a year, which is about 25% of our food supply. 25% of our food. 1/4 of our food we throw out. It's nuts. And you know it. You throw that stuff out all the time. You've seen it at school, seen the people with their, throwing out their apples or oranges or vegetables or whatever they don't want. I mean, think about it. It's crazy how much food we throw away. And food is heavy because it's mostly water, and water is super heavy. So that's going to be part of the 4 to 7 pounds we throw out every single day too. Because of this, most communities end up spending more money to deal with trash than they do on school books or on fire protection and in libraries. That's how big of a problem our trash problem is, and we don't even think about it. I mean, whatever day your trash day is, Sunday, Tuesday, whatever it is, the trash truck comes and they just haul it away and we take it for granted. We're like, oh, we're all good. Everything's fine. No, it's not. Just because it's not your problem anymore doesn't mean that's not a problem for the planet or our country. Here's another big one. Americans throw away 5.7 million tons of carpet every year. And a lot of that comes from where I'm at right now. I'm in an apartment. And as you can see, I have carpet on my apartment. And what's going to happen when a new tenant moves in? When I move out, a new person moves in this apartment, they're not going to want my old gross carpet. So that carpet gets ripped up, thrown away, and however often people move in and out of apartments, that's the entire apartment gone. So that's a lot of carpet that goes out, and that's going to add up to contribute to our 4 to 7 pounds too. All right. Oh, here's a big one. Toys. We're crazy about toys in America. Did you know only 4% of the world's children live in America, but we buy 40% of the world's toys? Because we just have to have new Tickle Me Elmos every year, I guess? I don't know. And toys are made out of plastic. Plastic, again, takes forever to degrade. So we just end up with these big landfills and trash heaps. And what we could do instead is just buying secondhand toys. Go to a consignment store, go to a thrift shop, whatever. Buy some used toy, whatever. The kid's not going to know the difference. He's a freaking kid, especially like little 2 or 3 year olds. Buy him a freaking used toy. He doesn't care. And that would really help us with the amount of trash we throw away too. We waste 4.5 million tons of office paper a year. We're getting better at it. Hey, we gave you Chromebooks. We're doing things digitally now, but still, I mean, even in schools, how much stuff do I print out? I still print out a lot of stuff, and that's after getting better, right? That's after I'm now using more stuff on Google Classroom and digital stuff, but we're still wasting a ton of paper. All right, I keep talking about plastics, and the reason I talk about plastics is one, because they don't degrade very quickly, so they end up in landfills for tens to hundreds of years sometimes. And the other thing is because plastics are made out of oil, petroleum. A lot of people don't realize that. They think like there's plastic trees or plastic bushes. There's not. Plastic is made out of oil, and that's another non-renewable resource. It takes millions of years for oil to form, and so we're just using that resource too and then just throwing it away. And it's not super smart how we do these things. I mean, think about your lunch at Budina's. You know the sporks you get? The sporks are made out of plastic, and then they come wrapped in plastic too. We wrap our plastic and other plastic. That's how insane and crazy we've kind of gotten with this stuff. Again, I'm not like a super tree hugger. I'm just saying, hey, let's be reasonable. This doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. All right. Now, I learned this fact from Finding Nemo, that all drains lead to the ocean. So you see the storm drain, the sewer drain on the side of the road or whatever. Any trash that goes down there is going to end up in the oceans. And that sucks. And so all those like little Apple stickers you get, on the side of an apple, peel that off, you just flick it away, ends up on the ground, goes into a sewer, goes into the ocean, some fish swallows it and dies. And now you killed that fish. You killed that fish because you flicked off a freaking sticker. Now, obviously it's not that severe most of the time, but I'm going to show it to you that it is actually a real problem. Maybe some of you have heard about this. Maybe some of your teachers have told you that there's a giant island of trash in the Pacific Ocean, just a huge giant island of plastic trash because we're throwing all this stuff away. Well, if you've heard about that, you're wrong because there's no giant island of trash in the Pacific Ocean. However, there is a giant garbage patch. So it's not like an island. You can't like go and walk on it or anything. But it is pretty disgusting, and that's kind of what we're going to learn about next. So, again, hopefully you took some notes, you wrote down some of those facts. Let's say you had to write down at least 4 facts, right? So if not, pause the video, go back, write down the facts. All right. Then I also want you to write down at least 2 things you learned in this video about the island of trash. It's not an island of trash in the Pacific Ocean because of all the plastics we're throwing away and they're going to the sewers. So let's take a couple notes on this video too.
You know those plastic stickers that they put on apples? What do you do with that sticker? Do you always walk it over to a trash can, or you just kind of flick it off onto the floor of your car where it ends up stuck to your shoe and then tracked onto the street, and then maybe when it rains it finds its way down a sewer grate and onto a stream and then a river and then the ocean, where it bobs along until it meets all its little plastic brothers and sisters at the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. So now hopefully you feel sufficiently guilty and will watch the rest of this episode. A lot of our trash hangs out in the North Pacific in an area called the North Pacific Gyre. A gyre is a big system of ocean currents that collide to form a kind of vortex. The North Pacific Gyre is one of the biggest, and it's also considered one of the world's largest ecosystems because A, it's 20 million square kilometers, and B, because living things congregate there. Some because they literally can't swim out of it, and others because the gyre is where all the action is. It's like a giant ocean corral. But not only does it corral plants and animals, it also corrals trash. The North Pacific Gyre bears the illustrious distinction of also being the world's largest landfill, except that it's not on land. And whenever I talk to people about the garbage patch, they seem to imagine it as like a giant Texas-sized floating island of trash. But that's not what it is. If it were, it would be a lot easier to study and a lot easier to clean up. Instead, the patch is actually two huge areas with high concentrations of trash suspended in the water on the east and west sides of the gyre. The size of the area and the changing nature of the gyre.
Just so you know exactly what we're talking about, here's America, here's China. This island right here would be Hawaii. So if you don't know where Hawaii is, that's where that is. So we have these two kind of garbage patches over here. And these aren't the only ones in the world. He'll show you some other ones too.
And west sides of the gyre. The size of the area and the changing nature of the ocean makes it really hard to study, but there's at least 100 million tons of trash in the gyre, and that number can literally only increase. A lot of our garbage these days is not biodegradable, meaning that microbes that break down other kinds of refuse can't eat it. The plastics make their way out into the North Pacific, and then they start to photodegrade as the sunlight weakens the bonds in the plastic polymers, breaking them into smaller and smaller bits, and leaching chemicals like bisphenol A into the water. But though the energy of the sun is good at breaking stuff down, this stuff never disappears entirely.
So even though it's not just the trash too, but like he says, they start to leak chemicals out of the plastics into the ocean too. That's obviously bad for the animals too.
They end up with microscopic bits of it suspended in the water column over hundreds and hundreds of miles of ocean. About 80% of this trash comes from land via powerful ocean currents that act as trash superhighways, but the rest comes from offshore oil rigs and commercial fishing and cargo ships. In fact, about 10...
But again, 80% comes from land. That's us. We're doing this.
Cargo ships. In fact, about 10% of the trash in the North Pacific is just free-floating fishing nets. Because what happens when you got a bunch of fishing nets floating around on the high seas? And this makes me very sad. Turns out that the combination of one of the largest ecosystems on Earth and a bunch of floating trash is not awesome. Sea turtles and other animals get entangled in the nets. Dead birds are being found with bellies full of gaskets and apple stickers. Plus, chemicals in the plastics make their way into the food chain and cause all kinds of problems for marine life. So yeah, not ideal. As for what you can do, start out by putting your trash in the trash, even if it's just an apple sticker. Thanks for watching this episode of SciShow.
Yeah, so guys, let's be adults and put our trash away. Again, whether you're Democrat, conservative, whatever, I don't think it really matters. I think we can kind of agree this is a problem. This shouldn't be a political thing. It shouldn't be something we're taking sides on. It's like, okay, let's be responsible and pick up our trash at least. All right, so that's why I think it's important. Next year when we come back to school, if you see some trash laying around, please pick it up. I will be doing it. Maybe you've seen me do it already. And that's why. This stuff's kind of important. All right, so this is actually what it's going to look like because, like I said, it's not actually an island of trash. Now, this is not the Pan-Pacific Gyre. This is not the one between America and China. Like they said in the video, there's more than one of these convergence zones. And this one is a little bit north of Australia. It's not quite as big, but you'll get the idea of what it looks like in these gyres. So, obviously pretty disgusting stuff. All of our trash that's out there that we just don't care about, we forget about. Shoot, man, I can't tell you how often I go to the beach and see so many people have just left their trash out, having a snack or whatever, and just leave their bags out. I don't know. Come on, let's be responsible. You can see the fish that are swimming through this stuff. They don't know what it is. They're going to eat it. It's going to get in their bellies. They're going to die. It happens on land too. When I go on my hikes, not sometimes, I see a lot of coyote droppings because there's lots of coyotes out on the trails. And a lot of times I see poop that has plastic in it because the coyotes eat everything. Look, you can see a manta ray down there. but the coyotes eat everything, and it makes them sick, and they just poop it out, and hopefully they're okay, and sometimes they're not though. So we just gotta be a little more careful. You saw hopefully you saw my video yesterday of one of my hikes where I had to show you the Mylar balloon. Today, I'll pause this for a little bit because that's you kind of got to see what it is. But today I'm going to post another video, and the video I'm going to post today is another hike. And what I'm going to show you is something that we talked about earlier here. Where is it? Don't they have something about? Yeah, here we go. I guess we make all these disposable plastics, and where do they go? I kind of talked about how you put them in the trash can, they disappear. Well, where do they go? And the fact is they go to a landfill. And a lot of our landfills are up in the hills. You can see the hills. I don't know why I'm looking now. But you know where the hills are around Santa Ana. And that's sometimes where we put some of our landfills around here. And more or less what we do is you put a layer of trash. The trucks, they come in, put a layer of trash. They'll have an earth mover come and put dirt over the trash so you can't smell it. Then they put another layer of trash, and then another layer of dirt, another layer of trash, and whatever, and it becomes like a big hill. And that's partly why we, in Southern California around Santa Ana, we put it in the hills because it just it matches, right? You can't even tell it's a landfill there because eventually it just becomes a big hill of dirt and trash, and you can't see the trash anymore because they bury it. So I will put a video up on Google Classroom of my trip to the dump where I took a hike up to the dump so you can kind of see what it's like. And it's actually really pretty because it's way up above Santa Ana and way up above Orange County, so you can see like all the cities below you. And it's just a big dump up there. It's crazy. You never know it's there unless you actually like went up on a hike. You can't see it from the ground. It's just can't be seen. So anyway, I'll show you that. Hopefully we learned something. Hopefully you took some notes on the video and the facts. And that's pretty much what I got for you today. Let's see how long the video turned out. Yeah, the first time I did it was a little shorter. Oh well, 17 minutes. Go ahead, take those notes, turn those in. Have a wonderful day. I will see you guys tomorrow where we'll learn about hybrid cars and pollution.